So this is new. It's 12:28 a.m. according to my clock. So more or less about 12:30. I normally don't film at this time, nor do I normally film in my bedroom, but I'm having one of those frustrating diabetes weeks cuz every now and again type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes don't always cooperate. you know, you do have occasional weeks where it's not that it's easy to manage, it's just easier. Your blood sugars aren't 100% perfect 100% of the time, but you don't run high, you don't run low, you're kind of in the range that you need to be. Maybe you're skirting the edge of the high range or skirting the edge of the low range, but overall, you're fairly consistent. And I was having several days, I was knocking days out of the park where I was like, my Dexcom graph looks like this. It's like a flat line for nearly 24 hours. And I was thrilled to death. I was not really bragging about it on social media, but kind of like excited about it on social media. Not trying to make other diabetics feel bad. By the way, yes, I do say diabetic and not person with diabetes. I apologize. I tried to change that, but I refer to myself as a diabetic. So I wasn't trying to make other people with diabetes feel bad, but it was just one of those things where I was super happy that everything seemed to be going my way. But then you have those weeks, and I still have them. I've had diabetes for going on 31 years. It'll be 31 years on October 21st. And I still sometimes have those weeks where I just want to take all of my insulin, all my blood sugar testing supplies, and just chuck it all out the window. Okay, so first things first, after several weeks of running in range, most of this week has been a little bit harder to get my blood sugars down. I had some infusion sets where my skin was swelling around the site where I had the infusion set placed. So I was having to change infusion sets more frequently because my blood sugars were running high since the insulin wasn't getting absorbed as well. I'm also, if you can't tell, fighting another respiratory infection. I think I might have an ear infection too, so I'm going to have to get that checked out. So, my blood sugars have not been doing great this week. And then I'll tend to rage bolus and drop low. It's just a big mess. So, yesterday evening I had a martial arts class. My blood sugars, according to my Dexcom, were 280. I tested, and I was actually 300 something. So, that was a bit problematic. It took the entire class for my blood sugars to go below my high threshold, which is 300, or 200, excuse me, 200. So basically, to go from 21 millimoles down to 11 millimoles. It took that long to get that drop in. And I had some issues with my Dexcom not reading correctly. Now, I already had one Dexcom failure earlier in September. And by the time midnight rolled around last night, the sensor had just gone out. It had just given up. So I had to replace the sensor, and the new sensor seemed to be doing pretty well. And then in the morning, that stopped, and that failed. So I put yet another sensor in, and that sensor failed during the warm-up. So I'd already had to get 3 sensor replacements from Tandem. When you're on Tandem, if you have any sensor issues, those go through Tandem. Any adhesive issues go through Dexcom. So I already had to call Tandem twice because the sensor failure during warm-up actually occurred after I'd already called about the previous 2 sensors. Put another sensor on, everything was going great. And then this evening I noticed that I had gone on my phone to just the circle without the arrows, and there was no directional arrow on my pump, which is usually a sign that the connection is a little bit off. Sure enough, I got a sensor error, and it would come back for like 20 minutes, and then it would go out again. So I thought, you know what? I'll just call about this one in about a week, so that way I'm not having to call about 4 sensor failures in one day. So I put a new sensor on because I had one sensor left, and I figured the replacement sensor should get here by the time that sensor is ready to be taken off. And the sensor I just put on, failed during the warm up period. So at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm out of sensors and I'm already awake and I'm really frustrated right now. So I just immediately called Tandem and I was like, I hate to bother you guys, but I'm having another sensor issue. And I spoke to 3 very lovely people today from Tandem, and all 3 of them were laughing along with me because it was just one of those things where it's like, not only are my blood sugars a little bit higher right now because I'm having infusion set issues due to weird absorption around the cannula, but I'm also fighting a cold, and now all of my Dexcom sensors are failing. So I don't know what's going on. It's just one of those days where, again, one of those things where you just want to take all of your diabetes stuff and toss it out the window. So, yeah, that's what's going on here. Thank you for letting me rant. And just wanted to let you guys know you're not alone. Sorry about the weird camera shift. I was trying to reposition my thumb. I'm using a pillow as a tripod. Anyway, yeah, so we all have bad diabetes. Weeks, months, days, years. Just putting that out there. It's not always going to be perfect. It is a struggle. Sometimes it's easier than others. Again, some weeks you seem to have it all under control, and then other weeks it's like, I got nothing. I can't do anything right. And I should probably go to bed before this cold gets worse. Okay, talk to you guys later. Bye.